Good Wednesday morning to you, and thanks for being with us here for Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant, and returning now to Texas for the Uvalde school massacre case involving school officer Adrian Gonzales. That's right. Former police officer is the defendant here, and the big question is whether a mistrial is going to be declared. So testimony was canceled today. The lawyers are going to be reconvening in the courtroom to go before the judge to argue over the testimony of one of the state's witnesses. So former Robb Elementary teacher Stephanie Hale testified about where she says she saw the gunman heading toward the school. And she's saying that the school resource officer was there near the gunman, okay? And so this has been something that was not disclosed previously, that he was in the same vicinity as the gunman. She never said this before, so this was a complete surprise, defense attorneys said. They said that this is trial by ambush. So essentially, this witness puts the officer right by the shooter, per her testimony, but the first time anybody heard it was right before the jury. Okay, so this is a major issue if she knew that and it wasn't turned over. Let's take a listen to some of what defense counsel said.
Your Honor, and so based on that, we have never gotten any notice from the prosecution, and that is clearly an inconsistent statement with the statement that she did. The prosecution has never provided us. This is clear under Brady. It's clear under Michael Morton that if this is the first time that I'm hearing of this in a trial of this magnitude is when she testified on the stand about it. And so if she did report these things to the prosecution, we were entitled to that to prepare for this. And this is a trial by ambush.
He's got a point. The Uvalde County DA was even sworn in outside the jury's presence, said that she too was caught off guard by Hale's testimony. Okay, so this is the DA saying she's caught off guard. So it may be a situation where the DA's office had no idea that witness was going to say that, and then the witness comes in and surprises everybody. So now what do? Well, let's back the truck up. Let's take a look at everything Stephanie Hale said. We're going to play all of her testimony for you this hour as we get ready for the lawyers to go before the judge. So we're starting with direct examination.
You got out, you were headed for the playground on the south side of the school.
Yes.
And tell me what happened then.
We stopped at the classroom first to grab lunch boxes, use the restroom, and then we were walking to the playground, and it sounded like the trash, the dumpster was picking up the trash, and I thought to myself, that's weird, they usually do that in the morning.
What do you mean it sounded like a dumpster picking up trash?
Like the dumpster truck, you know how it picks it up and it dumps all the trash? I don't know, it makes a loud noise to me, so that's what it sounded like.
So that's what you heard?
Yes, at first.
And so it didn't ring a bell as to a concern or raise a red flag?
I mean, it was interesting. It was a little weird and odd, and I remember thinking to myself, that's strange, they usually do that in the morning. And then I just became, I guess, a little more aware of my surroundings.
Okay. Did you continue on to the playground?
Yes.
And did you get to the playground?
Yes.
And how long were you at the playground?
I'm not 100% sure, maybe 5 minutes,
A short
give or
period of
take.
time?
Yes, a short period of time.
What is it that disturbs your playground activity?
We heard sounds, and to me, I thought they were fireworks. That's what it sounded like. And then another teacher also said, that's kind of strange. And then I walked to, they had like bleachers in the middle of the playground so I could see my kids, and I didn't make it there until Coach Gonzales picked up his radio and started yelling for us to get inside.
Okay. So the combination of hearing these fireworks and Coach Gonzales, did you draw a conclusion from that?
Yes.
And what was that?
That there was gunfire.
Okay.
That something was wrong. You
So
could see what I was
fireworks
saying.
and Coach Gonzales makes you think, not fireworks, guns.
Yes.
And
Or
as you were
something.
trying to get inside, was there anything else that indicated to you that wasn't fireworks?
Yes, we could, when we were standing there, the dirt was kind of, you could see the dirt cloud up, kind of coming towards us. And then as we were all running into the classroom, I saw I don't know what to call him, horrible person, walking.
Just take your time. We can hold on.
Walking towards the door.
Can you describe him for us?
He had all black, long hair, and a gun.
You saw a gun. Can you describe that for us?
I mean, I'm not really a gun person, but it's long and black, so.
And about this dirt being, would you say plowed up? I need to understand that a little better.
Like I don't know, if you drop something in dirt or sand, I guess, and it kind of makes a cloud, and then I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay, and did you see one of those clouds or more than one?
More than one.
More than one. And so how many children did you have with you?
In my personal class, we were all together.
Good question. Let's start with your class.
At the time, I wasn't 100% sure, but I think there was about 10 to 12 students.
With you?
Yes, the rest had left.
And there was another class out there?
There were several other classes on the playground.
At the time this puffing of dirt was going on?
Yes.
Do they all allowed to intermix them for that period
Yes.
of time? Okay. So the coach has given you instructions, you've had your own confirmations, you actually see somebody with a gun. Pretty stressful?
Yes.
Did it prevent you from acting?
No.
What did you do?
I yelled to the kids to get in the classrooms. The second grade teachers had opened their doors to let us in. And I went to the first classroom and I stood outside the door to make sure everybody had gotten off the playground.
So you got through the door before all your kids did?
Not all of them, but yes.
And so but you didn't go in?
No.
And why is that?
To make sure they were safe and inside.
And did you make sure? Did you make sure they were all safe inside before you went inside?
Yes.
And so when you went inside, what did you do?
I went to the corner of the teacher's classroom and at that point noticed I had only about 2 to 3. Of my own students in there. And so realized that they were kind of spread out into other classrooms. And then...
Did that cause concern for you? Tell me about that.
I mean, you just worry. And I mean, I know that they were all in a classroom, but not knowing where or who they were with was concerning because they weren't with me.
So what did you do?
We sat there for a little bit and you could see, we just kind of waited and tried to keep the kids calm. So we'd gone into a second grade classroom and a few of them were struggling to stay quiet. And
what's the idea of staying quiet?
Don't talk, don't move, be still.
Is that part of the training that y'all had?
Yes.
You had training to stay quiet under what situations?
They just a lockdown.
A lockdown? Just would you go through with us then what a lockdown is and what you do?
So it's lock lights out of sight. You lock your doors, which should be, and then you turn the lights off and you're out of sight. You go somewhere in your classroom that is away from windows, doors, hidden as best you can.
And is that school-wide?
Yes.
So in the lockdown, if you go in any room, according to the lockdown procedures, the kids are going to be away from the door and away from the windows.
Yes.
In the dark.
Yes.
And quiet.
Yes.
And you had a little trouble with people being quiet.
Yes.
And so what did you do?
I like army crawled around the floor under these second graders' desk and did breathing with them. You go trace your hand and you breathe in and out as you go up and down your fingers. So I did that to 2 students, helped them calm as best they could.
So you learned a breathing technique?
Can you imagine? I mean, this is a school teacher, not an Army Ranger, you know, trained to go into combat and protect oneself. I mean, it's unfathomable to think about. These shootings happen far too often. And the issue of where the shooter, the criminal in this case, you know, he's dead, he can't be prosecuted, but where this guy is, this is big, where he's positioned in the school. It goes to the issue of whether this officer properly responded. The state is painting a picture that he was ineffective, he didn't run toward the gunfire, they say. The defense is saying that he did his job, that he did what he needed to do. And so we're going to get to, in this witness's testimony, what the defense says is an unfair surprise. You already heard her talk about seeing the gunman, okay, which is going to be part of it, and then also where he's located is the other big part. And the question remains, will there be a mistrial declared? I want to bring in our legal analyst guest. We're so happy to have her back in the studio. She's a criminal defense attorney and a former prosecutor, Marie Pereira. Welcome back, and Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, good. Well, you know, this case is a tough one. You and I talked a teeny bit, you know, before we got started here, and there's more testimony to come, as you know. But just based on the little bit we know so far about this surprise, the defense says, do you think this is going to be significant enough that the judge might say, we got to get a new jury and we got to start over?
It's a strong possibility, because in trials, there should be no surprises. Like the defense attorney says, there should be no trial by ambush. The aim is justice. And if that is a witness under the control of the prosecutors, they had a duty to at least interview her and ascertain the content of the information she's coming to testify about. So if she's placing their defendant close in proximity, and if she's making him look like he was a coward, basically, and not doing his job, it's problematic, because in trials, as you know well, there should be no surprises. You should have discovery, and everyone should have an opportunity to defend their position.
Yes, yes, you're exactly right, my friend. And when you think about how big of an issue this is, you know, and you've been in the trenches, you know what it's like to be a trial attorney. I mean, with every there's always something that kind of throw you off balance, and sometimes it's little things, right? Something that, okay, I may not have heard this before, but you know what, it's insignificant. It doesn't really go to the heart of the issues. And this one, when his response is the issue and everything's under a microscope, where did you park? Where did you go first? Where did you go next? What did you see? You know, to me, this seems like an issue that could be big enough that the judge says, you know what, this is just wrong here. The defense needs more time. What do you say?
I think that might happen, because it happened not in the absence of the jurors. It happened while she was on the stand and the jurors heard it already. There are certain bells that could be unrung and the judge could say disregard that testimony, but this testimony is so critical to the accusations and the elements of the crime. Was he there? Was he hiding? Was he intentionally protecting himself at the peril of the children?
Bingo. Exactly, Marie. We're going to hear more from this witness. Friends at home, stand by. When we come back, more from teacher Stephanie Hale, who was there on that horrific day in Uvalde.
I'm going to ask you a lot of intensely personal questions.
From the crime scene to the courtroom, this is Victim to Verdict.
Everyone has this heightened sense of anticipation.
What a day here at Court TV.
Fireworks both inside and outside the courthouse.
Let the cameras roll. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. I'm going to show you the trials we're tracking for you this morning in California. We've got defendant Nick Reiner set to be arraigned in just a short time. He's accused of murdering his parents, famous Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. In Utah, we've got an evidentiary hearing scheduled for the children's book grief author Corey Richins. That's coming up today. This is the big hearing ahead of her trial in February. And in Texas, we've got a mistrial possibly on the horizon in the Uvalde school massacre case. Just one day of testimony in the case against one of the responding officers. So remember, the shooter, the suspect, is dead. He can't be prosecuted, but the officials there have brought charges against this particular officer for what they say is inaction. And we've got a witness who testified on Tuesday who apparently shared some information in front of the jury that had never been shared before. And so this could be a big problem. Let's go back in where we left off. We're going through that witness's testimony. She is on direct.
So you learned a breathing technique
Yes.
to calm kids in stressful
I
situations?
mean, it's just a normal, I guess, teaching special ed, you learn, I guess, little tricks to help with anxiety and things like that.
Did it work?
Yes.
How quickly?
I couldn't give you an exact time.
Okay. Did you take any other action as you were waiting?
Yes, at one point, the teacher, and I don't know her name, I feel so horrible, but I don't know her name. She had brought me a pair of scissors, and then there was another teacher in there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name. She also, we kind of like got together and just kind of came up with a plan.
What was the plan?
Do what we had to do, defend, keep quiet, wait until somebody came to get us.
And what were the scissors for?
I guess protection to fight if we needed to.
Okay. Under that stressful situation,
Yes.
you developed a plan
Yes.
to fight.
Defined?
To fight?
Yes.
And how about your kiddos?
They were doing the best they could to stay calm and quiet. They were doing what they were supposed to be doing. They had ended up getting safety scissors, I guess because they saw us with our scissors. They all got theirs. I didn't even notice until we got to the parking lot.
The kids all had safety scissors? Mimicking you all?
I'm sorry?
Mimicking the teachers?
I assume so, yes.
That is preparing to defend yourselves?
Yes.
No, this is objective leading.
How long were you in this position?
I don't recall. It was all very, I don't know.
What did you do while you were there?
Where? In the classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Help the kids stay calm, was ready to go. At one point, we just made sure we followed the rules. At one point, the two other teachers we were with, or I was with, they couldn't remember if the door was locked or not, or they just weren't sure. And so I remember being on the opposite side of the classroom, and they were tying an extension cord up into the door. I don't know how to explain it, but there's like a triangular shape metal frame that helps it open, and they were tying an extension cord around it to try and make sure it was, I guess, secured the best it could be if the door wasn't locked.
Okay. And that was the other two teachers?
Yes.
At some point, you were relieved or you evacuated, is that
Yes.
correct? Tell us about that.
We kept hearing knocking on the door, and we were taught, don't answer the door, somebody will come in and get you. But after several knocking, like times knocking, and again, I was on the opposite side of the room. One of the teachers, she peeked open the curtain to see, I guess, who it was. And it was law enforcement. And so at that point, she opened the door. They came and said, we're going to move you guys to the parking lot. So once everybody's ready, we're all going to move quickly but safely to the parking lot and wait there.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And how did your day end then?
Got to the parking lot, and at that time I realized all the kids had scissors, so like, it's okay, we're okay. And I took all the scissors and had 2 big pockets. Both of my back pockets were full of scissors, and we sat there for a little bit and then ended up going to an empty field off of campus. And while we waited for buses, I still at this point didn't have all of my students, and so I gathered the ones that I did have, and I told them, stay here, we're not getting on this bus, and waited.
For what?
For the rest of my kids.
And did you get them?
Yeah.
And then where did the bus go?
It was a little bit of confusion, I guess. We went to the high school, or we were supposed to go to the high school, and then on the way there, the bus driver was just kind of going in circles, and then we were told that the high school was on lockdown, so we wouldn't be going there, and then we ended up going to the Civic Center.
The what?
The Civic Center.
Okay. And is that where the kids were reunited with their
Yes.
parents? Okay. Thank you. We've gone through your day, and I want to just kind of go through so we have an idea of where all of this occurred, okay? Is it okay if I ask the witnesses to stand? Yes. Give you this. All we have is we have people on both sides, so it's real hard if we get in front for them to see what you're doing. So if you have to point at something, feel free to do that. I'll give you a second just to kind of familiarize yourself with State's Exhibit 1.
Okay.
Do you recognize State's Exhibit 1? And could you show us the perimeters then of Robb Elementary School? Okay. And so when you went to recess, where did you start?
I started here. Well, I was originally at the very beginning here in one of these classrooms, and then this is the library. So this is where I pick my kids up at.
Okay, let me ask, is the 4th grade wing there?
Yes.
Would you point out the 4th grade wing?
Here. And the library just
The
holds.
4th grade wing, you point to it, it has 3 X's on it, is that correct?
Yes.
And then there's a building north of that, or is it still part of the 4th grade wing?
It's connected.
Excuse
It's
me?
part of it. It's connected.
Okay, and then so y'all had been in the library?
Yes.
Is it still somewhat part of the 4th grade
It
wing?
is in here. It's right here at the other entrance.
And you have to speak up a
I'm
little,
sorry,
because
at
now
the
you're
other
facing
entrance.
this way. So the library is where y'all had been,
Yes.
and then where did you go?
We walked, my classroom was on this wing right here, so we stopped.
Is that the second wing from the top?
Yes, it's wing B. So here's the main office parts, and then here's wing B. So we walked down this little sidewalk, went to the classroom, dropped stuff off, got our lunch boxes, and then followed the sidewalk all the way down. And it was about here that I heard the dumpster, what I thought was a dumpster. And then this is the playground. This is where we ended up at.
At that playground?
Yeah, and it's like this entire thing.
And is there another building right there at the bottom of the photograph that you were talking about?
Down here,
Right here?
that's the pavilion, the PE pavilion where they have the basketball court and where the kids would
Pavilion or pagoda?
pavilion, I guess.
Okay. You call it a pavilion. And so where were the kids playing?
They were scattered throughout this entire area. There was several different pieces of equipment. They had, there was just tons for them to do, so they were spread out all through here.
All through and even behind the pavilion?
Oh, not this far. I would say they probably stop about here.
To the right, if I'm facing it?
Yes.
Okay, so could we go back then to where the Hillcrest Funeral Home is?
It's over here.
Right here?
Yes.
So from this position, what would be the line of sight to the pavilion?
From this,
Yes.
Okay, we've got the cross-examination of this teacher witness coming up after the break. We thank you for watching Court TV Live.
He's inside the school shooting at the kids! He's right there! Oh my God, he went inside the school! Yeah, we have multiple units inside of the school. They have locations. He's inside the school! He's doing the shooting at the kids! Oh my God!
Oh, you can hear the panic in his voice. That witness, an employee of a funeral home nearby Robb Elementary School on that awful day where 18 people were killed. The gunman was eventually killed by the Border Patrol tactical team who went in after he had kind of been holed up inside of a classroom. It was the Border Patrol who breached it after a window of time. And what's at issue in this case is whether or not one of the officers did everything he was supposed to do in his response. This is him, the defendant, Officer Adrian Gonzales, serving as a Uvalde school police officer. He was there that day. We know he got several students out of that building. But the state of Texas is saying that he didn't do enough. And what has caused a lot of question now is whether or not his defense team has been given all the information that they're entitled to. There was a teacher who took the stand and said that he was in the same location as the gunman at one point, and the defense had never heard that. This was a complete surprise. So now the defense gets a chance to cross that teacher. We're looking back at the footage from Tuesday. Here we go.
I guess I want to say first, I know that testifying and thinking about this stuff is hard. I can tell. I can see it. I think we all can see it. And nobody blames you for that because you went through a lot. I mean, all y'all out there went through a lot that day. Okay, so I say that to say I'm not asking these questions to make you relive that, to hurt you anymore. But do you understand it's important? I need to go through some of these things because we are in this case and they have made allegations against my client, so we need to talk about that, okay?
Yes.
Okay. So they kind of, Mr. Turner walked you through what was going on that day. I think one of the things you said was that you had your kids in library, and just so that I know, and I felt like, just so that I can understand exactly what, you would take them to the library, drop them off, then where would you go?
Typically we would have, we would all meet as a grade level team, but since it was a fun day, I guess, award day, we didn't have to meet. So that day I went into the math interventionist room. I want to say it was like room 132. And we spent time looking through her manipulatives because she was going to retire and I was going to take some from her.
Right. And I think you said that in your statement. You said manipulative.
Yes.
So we had it transcribed, and I thought the transcription was wrong because I said the word can't be manipulative.
Yes.
But
so students could manipulate and move to understand.
Okay, so that's kind of what I want to understand. So manipulative is like an object or something that they're using, and it teaches them a lesson about, I guess, whatever your lesson is.
Yes.
Trying to teach. Okay. And you said you were having to go over manipulatives with a person who was retiring.
Yes.
Was that for your benefit or for hers?
Both, I guess.
Do you see what I mean? Like, was she teaching you?
Oh, no. I was just going through what she had so I could use it in my classroom.
Understood.
So she was no longer going to be using it as she was retiring, so I was getting that from her.
Got it. So she's basically saying, look, I had these things I think your students could use.
Yes.
And you were saying yes, and let me see them, and this looks interesting. And, okay.
Yes.
That does clear up a part of the interview. So I guess at the point where you go to the library, so you were going over that and decided, we don't have our meeting, our staff meeting or whatever, our team meeting. might as well go get the kids and give them extra time out on the playground.
Yes.
That sound right?
Yes.
Were all of your kids in the library at the time?
The ones who had stayed, yes.
And what does that mean?
So after the award, some of the students had left to go home.
Okay. And was that like a normal thing?
Typically after awards, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess what I mean by that is, did the school say, look, because we're talking about May 24th, real quick. May 24th, can you give us an idea that year, if you remember, can you give us an idea like how close to the end of the school year May 24th was?
Maybe a week or two.
Okay.
Not maybe, I don't know.
And I'm sure you're in grade school, so nobody's doing like finals or anything, but have you as the teachers, or at least you, have you guys already basically submitted all the grades that they were going to have, or were there still more grades that had to be submitted?
There were still more grades, but I believe we had to do them for 4 weeks.
Okay.
So.
And the, do you know a park that's commonly known in Uvalde as Mexican Park?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just describe what that is?
I've never been there.
Oh, but you've heard people talk about it?
Yes.
And it's they call it Mexican Park because I think it's named after somebody famous in Mexico, or
I guess.
but that's what it's called there, right?
Yes.
The high schoolers, they have awards day too, or did you know?
Yes.
Okay, they have awards day. Do you know if it was pretty common throughout Uvalde, the Uvalde ISD, that on awards day, if you want to go home, you know, parents want to take you out, do something fun, or you want to go to, you know, you want to go shopping at the mall or whatever with your parents or whatever those things, that would be a normal thing. They can take them out of school or they can take them home and they wouldn't be in class.
Are you asking for, like, every child would do that, or?
No, I guess, do you know if it was like, because you're in an elementary school and Uvalde has a middle school.
Yes.
And Uvalde has a high school.
Yes.
And I don't know really I'm really just trying to ask, I don't know your experience with the middle school and the high school levels, but it sounds like that they were having kind of awards and things going on in celebration on the same day from the high school level to the elementary school level. But you wouldn't know that.
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay. But you do know that in elementary school, not that every kid would go home, but if the kids wanted to go home, they would go home.
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, your kids that you talked about, the ones that you had that day, those were the ones that didn't go home with their parents.
Correct.
How big is, when we say your kids, we're talking about your class that you're responsible for.
Yes.
How big is it normally?
About 22.
About 22. And how many?
All right, so let's talk about this. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Marie Pereira. Okay, Marie, so you know what's on the line here for the prosecution. Is it picking a whole new jury, starting again? For the defense, it's their client's freedom, their client's liberty. Tell us how you see this case and the potential for the judge to declare a mistrial today.
I think we have to hear more testimony to see what exactly did Stephanie Hale say on that stand that made it so critical that the defense attorney would say it's impossible for his client to have a fair, neutral trial because he was ambushed. I'm waiting to hear more, but I want to circle back at the defense attorney. You know, cross-examination is never friendly. And this is a very sensitive witness. As I'm listening to her, my heart is breaking and I'm gulping because she's so hurt by what happened. I like his style, the way he's cross-examining her to elicit information that could help his client, but yet he's not grandstanding. He's talking to her like it was a conversation.
Exactly.
But yet he's not a friend of her room because she's on to try to get his client convicted.
Sure.
You couldn't tell because he looks like he's just looking for the truth,
yes,
which is good.
It is good. He did it right. He was very gentle with her. I was wondering how he would approach it. And from the outset, I mean, he acknowledged how hard this must be for her. He, you know, and you know, Marie, you score a lot of points with a jury when you are kind to someone who's been victimized. And clearly she is a victim. I mean, this has changed her life. This is probably awful for her to get up and relive it. A lot of trauma she's been through. And yes, to your point, he's making the points he needs to make with her gently, kindly, respectfully, and he's going to save the arguments for the judge outside the jury's presence. That's where you argue hard. And today he's going to get his chance. Tell me, when you're thinking about protecting a client's liberty, and this isn't just any client, this is a client who's given many years of his life putting his life on the line. What's it like as a defense attorney when there's so much at stake? Someone else's freedom relies on your courtroom performance largely.
When I was a defense attorney, it was as if that person was a family member. There were some cases that I believed in the person's innocence so much that I would actually keep the person in my prayers. And I wouldn't be that defense attorney who would jump to trial, even pre-trial. If there was any way to resolve it, I would try to resolve it.
Smart.
I would be the investigator even when they couldn't afford it, because I knew once you took it from that point to the jurors, anything could happen. Even an innocent person can be convicted.
Sure.
So to answer your question, it's a tough situation if you're a good defense attorney who really takes your job seriously.
Definitely. Marie, thank you for that. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we'll see more of that cross-examination of the teacher, who's a key witness in this case about the massacre in Uvalde and a particular officer's response. School shooting that broke hearts around the country
and broke trust with law enforcement.
Now, the officer sworn to protect those students faces a jury.
The Uvalde school massacre trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.com.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Let's go back into the cross-examination, the cross that's at issue today and could be the grounds for the mistrial. You know, when a teacher is sharing information that wasn't previously shared. Okay, and so this is potentially an unfair surprise and grounds for a new trial to happen for the defense. Let's go back in.
So I kind of want to ask a few questions. And after this, and you know, I'm not saying anything one way or another. I kind of want to know what you've been able to see or learn or read or hear since that time. Okay. Now, I would assume, as somebody who is so closely involved and so closely affected by what happened, that you have looked at and examined the reports that have come out about what happened.
No, I have not.
Okay. You've never read one.
Nope.
You've never seen anything on TV?
I've seen, yes, but I have not in detail read. I don't care to, see that.
I understand. And I think some people would want to know, and then some people may not, and it's fine both ways. So as far as the Texas House report, you haven't read any part of it?
No.
Or their conclusion?
No.
The Department of Justice report?
No.
The Department of Homeland Security report?
No.
The City of Uvalde report?
No.
Have you talked to other teachers since about what happened?
Yes.
Is there any kind of support group that you have with the other teachers or other people who were there where you guys have talked about it together?
We did group counseling, but it was maybe 5 teachers 4 times within like 3 months.
Sure. And of course, like I said, I'm not asking these questions because there's anything wrong with that. I'm glad that whatever communications that you've needed to do, you've been able to do. But I want to go back to the interview. Because in the interview, do you remember talking in the interview, and do you remember the ranger asking you what happened, what you witnessed and what you saw?
I mean, it was a while ago, so I don't really remember the interview. I just remember where it was at.
Okay, and I guess what I mean is, did you understand that the purpose of him interviewing you is to ask you what happened on that day and what you witnessed?
Yes, I guess. I didn't know if it was, I thought it was mandatory we had to do it.
Sure. But I guess what I mean is that obviously when something like this happens and you're in the room with a ranger, a law enforcement officer, the reason you're there is to tell the ranger what you witnessed.
Yes.
Okay. Because, you know, in that interview, you did talk about, you heard a sound like a dump truck, right? You described it as a dump truck at the time.
Yes.
You know, you described it here as like garbage truck.
Yes.
And trust me, to me, there's no difference. I think that it's the same. And what you're describing, I don't know, everybody's probably heard it, and I just wanted to clarify. What you're describing as part of the sound is like whenever it kind of takes up and dumps and like slams it back down and boom, boom, like
yes,
that kind of sound. And was that a common sound for you to hear on the playground? I know you said it was weird for the time, but is that a common sound for you to hear on the playground at Uvalde or at Robb Elementary School?
At least once or twice a week, yes.
Okay. So do you know what dumpster would have been being emptied, or you just remember hearing that sound?
I just remember hearing the sound.
All right. And so before you came here to testify today, because you said it's been years since you gave that interview.
Yes.
Did you sit down with any member of the prosecution and discuss what you would testify about?
When? I guess, could you clarify the time frame?
Sure. I guess at any time after this event occurred, but before you came here to testify today?
Yes.
Okay, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to do, yeah, it's fine. But what I'm trying to do now is figure out, at any time when that happened during this interview, did they play for you this interview so that you could hear what you had told Ranger Benson before?
No.
Okay. So you've never heard any of this?
No.
So I have some questions. Well, you were there and present when you did the interview, but nobody's ever played it back.
No.
Because during that interview, you described going into the classroom and that you described the scissors, as you described for us today. But during that interview, 4 days after this happened, you never told Ranger Benson that you had seen anybody matching the description of black, wearing all black and long hair.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. Would
Okay, so we're hearing a little bit more here from this witness, Marie Pereira, in the studio with me. Clearly the cross is not done yet, but you were saying you're waiting to hear what exactly she's saying. It seems like the proximity of the shooter to the defendant is what it is in question, you know, today, really. How adequate could his response have been is largely dependent on the physical proximity of the locations. What do you think here?
I think he's doing a very effective cross, because his job on this cross is to show that she was interviewed about this incident prior to this testimony. And it seems like she's adding a little touch of what we would call in Haiti, sel avec poivre, salt and pepper. She's putting salt and pepper, which wasn't in the dish when she described it before. I'm making a joke, but there are no jokes, because we're talking about testimony that could land this person in prison for many, many, many years. So he's trying to show inconsistency with her statement before to the ranger and now on the stand to water down what she's saying and to really make it look like maybe she's so heartbroken, so traumatized, has so much survivor's guilt that she would basically do and say anything to make sure that his client is held accountable, including exaggerating and embellishing things that she didn't say before. So he's doing well.
Your analysis. This attorney is doing a very good job. Marie Pereira, good job to you with the insight this morning. We're going to hit a break. Friends at home, don't go anywhere. More coverage of the Uvalde school massacre case is straight ahead.
TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins. Good to be with you on it was turning out to be a busy Wednesday. This hour, Nick Reiner is expected in court in Los Angeles to formally enter a plea for double murder. The murders of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. He, of course, there's a lot of speculation. What will Alan Jackson and the defense team come up with here during this early stage? Will he plead not guilty or not guilty by reason of insanity. A lot of questions would be answered. We're expecting that to get underway in LA about 11:30 Eastern time, so about a half an hour from now, and we will watch it together live. We want to begin the hour, though, in Corpus Christi, Texas, where a possible mistrial could be declared in the trial for former Uvalde school officer Adrian Gonzales. Day one of the trial ended yesterday with former Robb Elementary School teacher Stephanie Hale. She testified about seeing the gunman heading towards the school, but the defense abruptly stopped Hale's testimony when she shared the shooter was wearing black clothing, had long hair, and she placed Gonzales near the shooter. Information the defense didn't know. They said they were not told this by prosecutors before trial, and it caught them off guard.
Your Honor, and so based on that, we have never gotten any notice from the prosecution, and that is clearly an inconsistent statement with the statement that she did. The prosecution has never provided us. This is clear under Brady. It's clear under Michael Morton that if this is the first time that I'm hearing of this in a trial of this magnitude is when she testified on the stand about it. And so if she did report these things to the prosecution, we were entitled to that to prepare for this. And this is a trial by ambush.
Trial by ambush, that's the allegation from the defense. The judge eventually sent the jury home, told them, don't come back tomorrow, come back on Thursday. Somebody had a medical appointment too today, so there was always going to be something in flux today, but the attorneys, they'll be back 2:30 Eastern. They're going to argue this, and we'll see what happens. We'll play that out at 2:30 Eastern time when it begins. But right now, let's go back and hear more of how it all played out yesterday. We're going to pick it up with the defense questioning Hale outside the presence of the jury.
Ms. Hale, you would agree with me in listening to the totality of your interview 4 days after that you never tell the ranger that you saw anybody that was dressed in black with long hair and a gun?
Correct.
You agree that you never told him that you saw dirt flying up on the playground that was, to you, I guess, putting two and two together, you felt like you were being shot at, which was your opinion?
Correct.
You never told the ranger any of those things?
I'm listening to that now.
Right. And that was 4 days after it happened.
Correct.
And you would agree he gave you every opportunity to say everything that you remembered about what happened?
Yes.
And seeing the shooter and seeing somebody with a gun on your school would have been something that you would have told him at the time?
I would think so, yes.
In the dirt and you connecting that to their bullets being fired in your direction?
Yes.
Okay. So the question I have is, when you talked to the prosecutor on those incidents, did you tell them those details about seeing the person in black and with long black hair or with long hair and a firearm? And did you tell them about seeing dirt being kicked up at the playground?
I believe so, yes.
All right, Your Honor. And so based on that, we have never gotten any notice from the prosecution, and that is clearly an inconsistent statement with the statement that she gave. The prosecution has never provided us. This is clear under Brady. It's clear under Michael Morton that if this is the first time that I'm hearing of this in a trial of this magnitude is when she testified on the stand about it. And so if she did report these things to the prosecution, we were entitled to that to prepare for this. And this is a trial by ambush.
Good. Response? We're checking to see if it is indeed part of the grand jury testimony that was turned over to him. Okay.
Yes. It's provided in the transcript that we provided to them on what's 134. there's a part which talks about the extension cord.
I agree that she said that before. I do not see in the I do see in the grand jury transcript there was talk about dirt flying up around the kids. I do not see where she described seeing a shooter, seeing a person with a gun matching the description of the shooter. And apparently she told the prosecution that before trial. I mean, Judge, that's an incredibly important detail that I'm finding out about now in front of the jury.
And how's that Brady or exculpatory, Your Honor?
Well, it's like insanely different. What I want to say is it is 180 degrees different than her prior testimony to the grand jury and her prior statement to the ranger, and it is of a matter of such importance because it has placed the gunman on the south side. It's the same place where my client was, where he responded to, and where he went to. And so if this witness has told, and I understand witnesses testify, they remember things differently, but when the prosecution hears something that the witnesses remember differently than anything that we have, it's their obligation to provide that to us, because that would be what could be used for impeachment.
But we provided with the grand jury testimony that had about the dirt, whether or not there was a man in black, they've already stipulated that there's a man in black that was there.
I agree, but not at that location at that time. And this is a man dressed all in black, not just all in black, with long hair and a firearm and a gun.
Like there was more than one man in black and a gun.
But that's
south end of Rondo Elementary.
The prosecution, I'm sure, is not trying to intentionally miss the point, which I'm sure that the court understands my point, which is it's not about who did the shooting. Of course, we all agree with that, but at what time, when and where and how, and what teachers had identified a shooter or had seen a shooter on campus?
Well, the location is pretty important, Mr. Turner. Do we have anything that you show in your notes? You turn that over to them?
About the man in black? No, Your Honor, I don't.
Specifically the location at that particular time?
Well, I guess the idea is the witness has testified that she told the state. Does the state acknowledge to the court that they were told that?
I said, I believe so. Sorry.
What?
No. I mean, the thing about it is that this woman was initially interviewed, in a very traumatic event. So there's going to be things that she remembers, more as time goes on. But I agree with Mr. Turner, that's not exculpatory. We all knew there. When saying to them, hey, there's a shooter, all black with a long rifle, is not information that they didn't already have throughout this case.
In opening statement, they said that Melody Flores said the man that was in all black, but she got the gun wrong. So this is
I think his complaint is more to the location of the man in black in relationship to where his client was.
I don't think she said anything about where his client was, first of all. Second of all, I think the testimony would be that Melody Flores saw him in the same spot that this woman has said it was. There's no new testimony there. There's no new evidence. There's nothing different than what they already know.
She never told us that the specific location that she saw him, about that south end of the door. She never told us that.
Okay. So what are you asking for?
Well, can I have a moment?
Pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, just need a little bit to talk to them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, that's the dramatic moment yesterday where the defense went and got together. What do we do here? What do we ask for? Eventually it was, they want a mistrial. Krista Ramey is watching along with us in Los Angeles. Krista, this is, you know, Brady is usually tied to exculpatory evidence that the prosecution knows about. They have to tell the defense. So, you know, if they come across something in the investigation and the discovery and they're like, ooh, this could really help the defense, the human urge is to not tell them anything. Well, they have to. Is this exculpatory? That's really what the prosecution is saying. We get it, that it's different, but, and the defense says, well, it could be because of this location. What's your take on what the judge should do here?
I think that it's a close call. I think a couple of things. I think that there is not some intentionality in the conduct of the prosecutor. I don't think the prosecutor deliberately hid something like we saw in the Rust trial, for instance, where the prosecutor said, I'm just not turning this over because I don't think it's relevant. You don't have that. The prosecutor was a little surprised also about this testimony. So that's a factor. It's not traditional exculpatory, but I think that it is in a sense that because it's pretty good impeachment, that can tend to, you know, favor the person that's impeaching, which here would be the defense. So I think that it is, in a way, exculpatory. It definitely should have been turned over if they knew about it. But you also have to wonder about, like, was it, you know, did this witness, is she remembering things now that she didn't remember then? Is she implanting other people's memories into her own because of her trauma that she went through? And so that's also, I think, factors that go to weight and credibility of evidence, not necessarily whether or not a judge should say, you know, this is so bad of a Brady violation that there's going to be a, you know, mistrial and you're going to have to start all over again. So I think that it probably leans towards a mistrial and starting over again, allowing the prosecution and the defense to examine this witness further about this testimony, find other information about it, and this way that the defendant's rights are protected.
Yeah, and again, we know that today at 2:30 they're going to reconvene and continue this. The jury's not going to be reporting in Texas today.